Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are on the section 2 of the Awsaful Ashraf of Shaykh Tusi. The second section now that Tusi talks about is removal of obstacles. The obstacles that he talks about can be seen in physical journey. In physical journey, if we have obstacles on the path, obviously, even if we intend to move, we are not going to move. So for example, if the car has a flat tire, we will not be able to move. If there is a road block, we will have to go around it or over it or remove it. Similarly, within the spiritual journey, obstacles prevent the wayfarer from moving even though they desire to move. What happens is that before removing the obstacles, they cannot move and they fall back to the same place. The obstacles for the wayfarer are the habits that the wayfarer has, the inner dispositions that have been built up within the process of life through social conditioning and expectations of the society. We form false personalities and habits that become barriers in our journeying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most accurately put, it is our attitudes that are the obstacles. The wayfarer needs to arrive at a point of neutrality where they are in a process of removing their obstacles which are their inner attitudes and their habits. So the first part of the removal of obstacle is known as tawbah. Now inaba was a deep yearning to return to Allah, to find Allah. Tawbah again means to return. And we will explain this fully in the next session. But tawbah means to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is by removal of obstacles. So whereas inaba is a pure yearning to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tawbah is by checking our own selves and seeing what prevents us from reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, addressing that and removing that. And therefore, istighfar is an integral part of tawbah. But there is a big difference between istighfar and tawbah. Tawbah is a perpetual state of removing obstacles, whereas istighfar is an immediate state of removing a sin that is incurred through an inner state that is already there. Let us explain this more fully. If we lie, we have sinned. So we do istighfar in order to address that sin and to remove it. But tawbah is addressing that disposition that causes us to lie in the first place. Let us explain this a bit further. In the hadith of the sixth Imam Salamullah alayh, regarding the people who are on the plains of Arafah, on the day of Arafah, during the major pilgrimage, the Imam says the greatest sin on that day is to assume that Allah has not forgiven. So every person who finds themselves on the plains of Arafah needs to know with confidence that Allah has forgiven them. So all the sins are wiped clean. However, the mistake that we make is in thinking that the tendency of sin has been removed as well. The tendency of sins cannot be removed save by us ourselves, and Allah helps us. The expression and the manifestation of those tendencies is removed. It is like a tumor, a cancer. When the body's cells are not functioning accurately, cancer oozes out. Istighfar is to scrape off that tumor. But the cancer producing cells are still there. The cancer that produces these defective cells is still there. Tawbah is to address the cancer itself. So tawbah is return to God by addressing the habits and the attitudes. Istighfar is to seek forgiveness when these habits and attitudes produce an act of transgression or an attitude of transgression or a thought of transgression or a moment of slip. Of course, istighfar indirectly assists in the process of tawbah.